new album. I've had a chance to listen through a couple of times now, and it's an absolutely fantastic album.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate that.
So, great. I was wanting to talk a little bit about the songwriting process for you guys, because I understand that you guys started work on this album pretty much straight after the last one. So tell us a little bit about that songwriting process.
Yeah, we I think it was 2011 sometime, about a year after the release of Shadowcast. We started dabbling in some new ideas, and obviously we haven't spent 7-8 years on writing this album, but it's been more like on and off, and some of the ideas on this album is from 2011-2012, and so I think as far as the songwriting process goes, this has been a good thing for this album, because when you spread your songwriting process over so many years, it's bound to end up having good variety, I think. So that's definitely the strength I see for this album. The downside to that could be that, when you don't have a deadline for album release or album recording, it's that, you can tend to go back and want to change things on songs all the time. And that's something we figured pretty early on, that if we're going to do this, we need to agree on when a song is finished, it's finished, and leave it be, and not go down that rabbit hole to change things around all the time, because that way you could possibly fuck things up royally. But it feels good to listen back on the album now when you have had it away from your self for a while, and hear that the strength, at least from my perspective, is the variety.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, with you guys all so busy with your other bands, how do you find the time to get together and write and jam when you're working on a new album?
Well, with Insidious, we don't really get together that much in the same room, because we're all located all over the place. Mark lives in Berlin, Shane lives in Birmingham, and Tony lives in Florida. So it's mainly me who come up with the musical ideas for now, at least, and then we take it to the table, and we all try and find arrangements together. And then, of course, before we do a recording, as in studio, or we're going to play live, we get together and rehearse properly as a band. So that's the downside of having friends all over the world playing in the same band, because it's it's hard logistics wise, but it works, and I think we knew that this would be the situation challenge when we got together in 2004 when we established the band. So but I think we've been making the best out of the situation.
Yeah. Your last album was such an amazing album. It was nearly a perfect album. How did you set about trying to change things this time? Because how do you work on perfection?
I think it's Shadowcast was a typical first album, I would say, and maybe this new album is a typical second album. I don't know, but it's I really feel like the identity of this band is more or less on the groovy department, more on the mid-paced department. Obviously, we have some fast stuff going on as well, but I think it's important for us to incorporate some type of melody in it all, and we approached the songwriting in a very old school fashion, and we try not to analyze too much, and try and go with the flow. And if we don't have an initial idea that we all like within a couple of weeks, then we'll just scrap it and move on to the next, basically.
Yeah. What kind of things were inspiring you lyrically? Because this album touches on some pretty deep topics, such as post-traumatic stress. What was inspiring you when you sat down to work on the lyrics?
think it's a lot of different things. Obviously, the world is both beautiful and a fucked up place at the same time. So we need to have that balance in there, and we try and incorporate some serious topics and not just the typical superficial gore stuff that catches your attention first, but it has really no substance when it comes down to it. So, and I guess that's pretty normal for this type of genre, this type of music, that you want to catch people's attention first, and that's what we try and do as well. But once we have the attention, we want people to actually maybe start questioning things and maybe start questioning the status quo of things. And PTSD was a topic that I've been gotten to know quite a lot over the last few years because of my volunteer work with the club and stuff. So, and we have been in touch with quite a few veterans over the years that has come home from service in war-torn countries, and once they come back from service, there's not really much assistance and help and understanding to get from the government at all, really. So that's how I learned a lot about that topic, and I felt that it was needed to have something like that on the album as well.
Yeah. What drew you to do that kind of volunteer work? That's really interesting. What drew you to do that kind of work?
No, I think it comes from very, very old times. You have to give to receive, and to help people that is in a much worse shape than yourself, in whatever shape that is something that I've valued over the years, and I understand that that's how it works for me.
Yeah,
at least, and it's there's so much shit going on, so it gives me a lot to assist and help others.
Yeah, I volunteer here with an organization that helps homeless people in our area, and it's just been crazy during the pandemic, with people coming in, more people than ever. What has that been like for you there? Have you found the same thing there with so many more people needing help during the pandemic?
A little bit. But I think here in Norway, we haven't been hit as bad in that sense, because people here live pretty much spread. We have I think it's 5.4 million people all over Norway, and it's of course in the cities it's more people live more close, but here for me personally it hasn't really affected me much more, in the sense that I haven't been able to travel when I want to other countries, obviously, but I live in the countryside, and I go about my day pretty much as normal, just less trips to the grocery store.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. We mentioned before about the band being spread out all around the world. Tell us a little bit then about how you actually recorded this album.
Well, we got together to rehearse the songs before we recorded the drums in the warehouse studio where we rehearse, and so we did everything ourselves from the get-go. Obviously, we're not studio technicians, so we had some challenges when it came to recording things properly. I remember when Russ Russell, who mixed the album and mastered it, when he got the files, he wasn't too impressed, but he took the challenge and he made gold out of it, especially on the drum side. So some of the signals there were totally out, and we did the vocals also at the same place. We did the guitars and bass in my studio, and went about it in a really old school fashion, old school recording way. So that's what we kind of were looking for. Try to have or try to accomplish a more organic, old school sound, if there is ever one. But for us, it's important that the music and the simplicity in the music comes across in the sound and the production.
Yeah, there was a real rawness there. Do you think that was because you did record it the old school way?
Sorry, man.
Sorry, there was a real a rawness to the sound of this album. Do you think that was because you did record it the old school way?
I think so. We used especially on the guitar side, we used old equipment, old amps, and or old setups. I would say the amps weren't that old, but it's we wanted to have that grit and dirt and to try and make this sound as authentic as we possibly could, and I think we accomplished that, and that's also what we were looking for especially when it came to the cover artwork, to have that earthy, moldy type of feel in the production to be symbolized with an accompanying cover.
Yeah.
Artwork.
Tell us a little bit about the artist that did the cover work as well, because it is an absolutely amazing piece of cover art.
Yeah, thanks. I totally agree with you. Dan Seagrave, who has done it, he's known for so many great cover artworks when it comes to this type of genre, I guess you can say. He was responsible for some of the earliest incarnations of the great cover albums, like Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness, Dismember, Entombed, and Gorguts, you name it. There were so many awesome covers that he did in the late 80s, early 90s, and he's done that ever since, basically. But to have him do the art for us was kind of like a dream come true, I would say, and I'm really, really happy with how everything turned out.
You also mentioned Russ Russell before, and you mentioned that the magic that he brought to the album. What is he like to work with?
He's a top bloke to work with, very easygoing, very understanding, very patient, and has a lot of knowledge when it comes to extreme sounds, extreme music. He plays various extreme styles himself, and he also used to be Dimmu Borgir's front of house guy for some years, and so we've known each other really well over the years, and it's really easy to work with.
Awesome. Well, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, so I guess to finish off, I'd like to ask, where now to for the band? Like, have you already started working on the new album? Have you taken some time out because of the world being closed down at the moment? Where to next?
No, especially since there was no live stuff really happening this year, we've gone into the writing mode both for Insidious and Dimmu, so we're well underway. I would say trying to take advantage of the situation where we cannot play shows and go on tour anyway, and I think that's something that a lot of bands are doing at the moment, which will most likely end up in having a lot of releases maybe next year or in 2 years' time, where a lot of aggression, despair, and anger will come out in a very fruitful and creative way.
Yep.
So hopefully that means the same for both Insidious and Dimmu as well.
Definitely. Is there anything you would like to say to your fans before they go out and grab a copy of this album and give it a listen?
Well, just have a listen to it with an open mind, read the lyrics, and take the time and attention to listen to it a couple of times, and hopefully we can get back to business again and come to Australia and play more live. That's what I think this type of music is all about. Especially Insidious Disease. It's music and art that needs to also be embraced in a live setting. So hopefully things will go back to normal pretty soon.
Definitely. Well, we cannot wait to see you in Australia again. Thank you so much for chatting to us tonight, and congratulations on such a magnificent album.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to see you all.
Definitely. All right. You have a great day, and we'll chat soon.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. Bye.
All right. Thanks.